And then what did you make of Sophie Cunningham's flagrant foul on JC's?
It was a flagrant foul.
Think it's like defending the team, or how do you just how?
I view it as a flagrant foul.
That's like a game too.
Yeah, well, I mean, that you guys came for basketball.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
talk
seriously.
about basketball.
Yeah.
Come on now.
What do you think of just how you all were able to pull in the second half, Caitlin in
We're
particular?
going to the Commissioner Cup Championship.
Let's
That's
go!
pretty exciting. Y'all want to talk about that? Let's talk about that.
What do you think? Again,
The WNBA may be on the verge of unraveling, and at the center of the storm is its brightest star, Caitlin Clark. According to growing reports, Clark is nearing a breaking point, with speculation about her potential departure growing louder by the day. But this isn't just about rookie hazing, it's about unchecked on-court aggression, ignored by officials, and a league grappling with resentment toward the very player revitalizing its relevance. Fueling the tension is a media narrative that shifts blame onto the victim rather than addressing the deeper dysfunction. Now, a bold and unsettling rumor is gaining traction. Clark may be plotting a dramatic exit, a decisive move that could expose the league's deepest flaws and force the WNBA to fight for the spotlight she once effortlessly commanded.
A record. This is her second season. And you put the numbers together, it's like 10 seasons. That girl did it in 10 seasons. That means she had won a season. Caitlin Clark is... when Caitlin Clark gets to 10 seasons, she's going to have 100 of these. And y'all can't get a girl her roses. Now, I don't like the fact that she be getting woke because she don't want all these lesbians to be mad at her. At the end of the day, is the woman putting in the work, she's putting in the work.
To truly grasp why Caitlin Clark might consider leaving, you must first understand the sheer magnitude of her influence. The numbers don't just tell a story, they scream it from the rooftops. Clark has become a one-woman economic engine. Before her debut, the WNBA lingered on the margins, struggling for visibility. But with her arrival, the league transformed into must-see TV, not just in Indiana, but everywhere she played. Once empty arenas are now packed to capacity, fueled by swarms of passionate fans eager to witness her in action. Some opposing teams have even been forced to relocate games to larger NBA venues just to meet demand. Her impact isn't just impressive, it's historic.
This is all going according to plan. This is ideal. Caitlin Clark is holding up her end by being awesome and by being a trash-talking jerk on the court. Love it. Her teammates are holding up their end by having her back. The other players in the league are holding up their end by not liking her. Perfect. Couldn't have written a better script. Caitlin is talking trash to this girl's hard fouling her. Her teammate Sophie Cunningham, who got a black belt in Taekwondo at the age of 6, she's like, I will F you guys up. All of it's great, and Caitlin's a killer. 10 out of 10.
When Caitlin Clark's jersey hit the market, it quickly became the top-selling item, not just in the WNBA, but across all sports. Her influence extended beyond merchandise. League viewership on major networks surged by triple digits. But perhaps the most revealing moment came when she was briefly sidelined by an injury. Almost instantly, the WNBA's TV ratings plummeted by a staggering 55%. One player sits out, and over half the league's audience vanishes. That's not just impact, that's dominance. Clark isn't simply a star on a team, she is the market. She's generating the revenue, drawing the crowds, and, ironically, funding the very players and institutions that seem to resent her success.
Clark is driving the WNBA insane. It's to the point that she may need to step away from the WNBA, have a billionaire come in that has the money to prove a point, and say, Caitlin, I'll pay you $50 million just to see if the WNBA can make it without you. Let's go create a completely different league and expose the hell out of the WNBA just to embarrass this Angel Reese girl that Jameel Hill just said she could go down as a Michael Jordan of
Yet despite the wave of attention and revenue she brought to the league, Caitlin Clark's WNBA debut felt less like a grand welcome and more like a back alley ambush. It quickly became clear that many opponents had adopted a singular defensive tactic: test how much punishment she could endure before breaking. This wasn't just gritty, physical basketball, it resembled a targeted campaign. Game after game became a montage of aggressive closeouts, off-ball hits, and hip checks that often bordered on outright assault. The most infamous moment came courtesy of Marina Mabrey, whose now notorious shove sent Clark sprawling, an unprovoked, full body check that had no connection to the play whatsoever.
I will say this, when Caitlin Clark was out, they lost 55% of their viewership. So like basically Caitlin Clark is paying all their salaries.
Pretty much.
I mean, at the end of the day, you can hate her as much as you want, but she's brought in millions of fucking dollars. So you should be kissing her ass.
And that kind of defeated the purpose of Angel Reese's argument of she's like, hey, it's not just Caitlin Clark that is bringing all the viewership to the WNBA. It's like, well, it definitely is. It's like it kind of proved that with the viewership rating being down that she significantly increases viewership with
They try so hard to compare her to Caitlin Clark. They try.
What frustrated Caitlin Clark's critics the most was her response. She never lashed out, never played the victim. Instead, she got up, brushed herself off, and went right back to work. Her composure, meant to reflect professionalism, was often misread as arrogance, adding fuel to the fire. With each silent comeback, the hit seemed to get harder, more desperate. The message from her detractors rang loud and clear: you won't outshine us. And if we can't stop you with skill, we'll try to stop you with force.
Fever and sun hold a brawl and a basketball game breaks out. This was something. Caitlin Clark, without question, gets raked across the face. I think she gets poked in the eye, but it's difficult to tell.
If you're the Indiana Fever, you cannot stand by and let that happen. They need to make it clear to the officials. If you're going to let this happen, then we're going to stand up for our player and make a mess of the game, and you're going to have a big mess on your hands. So you need to stand up for this. You need to do something about this.
You just learned with definitive data and beyond question that Caitlin Clark controls more than half the audience for the entire
The WNBA front office, the very institution that should have been protecting its golden goose, remained conspicuously silent. They were quicker to issue statements about dress code violations than to address the systematic targeting of their biggest star. But the physical hits were only part of the story. Even more troubling was the absence of enforcement from those tasked with upholding the rules. While Caitlin Clark was treated like a human pinata, referees routinely looked the other way, their whistles seemingly vanishing in moments of obvious aggression. Blatant fouls were brushed off as common, sending a clear and dangerous message to the rest of the league: this kind of treatment is fair game.
We're expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion, but not like this. This news is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the
The league's silence and inaction sparked a fan-led movement online under the banner Protect Caitlin Clark. Frustrated viewers became amateur analysts, combing through slow-motion replays, highlighting missed calls, and pointing out illegal screens, desperately pleading for flagrant fouls that never came. What emerged was a deeply unsettling truth at the heart of the WNBA. The league was eager to capitalize on Clark's marketability, ticket sales, and record-breaking TV ratings, yet unwilling to extend her the same basic protections afforded to other players. This wasn't just a failure of oversight, it felt like a tacit endorsement of the on-court hazing she endured.
I am sick and tired of the way they are treating my girl Caitlin Clark. I am here to propose a solution. I think they need an enforcer. You know, someone who comes off the bench to kind of lay the smackdown on the opposing team member. I want to get the word out to the Indiana Fever that I am available. I'm ready to identify as whatever I need to in order to get the job. They need someone like me. Why? Because I'm not afraid of any 6-foot-tall lesbian. I work out. Now, I have a couple of real good go-to moves in my bag of tricks.
Just when it seemed the situation couldn't grow more absurd, the media stepped in, only to point the finger at the victim. Instead of scrutinizing the dangerous behavior on the court, a bizarre narrative began to take shape among pundits and talking heads. They argued that Caitlin Clark had invited the aggression, that her confidence and occasional pre-game trash talk made her a target. It's a take so fundamentally flawed it's hard to know where to begin. This is professional sports, a realm built on ego, competition, and psychological warfare. legends like Larry Bird made careers out of verbally dismantling opponents. Michael Jordan was infamous for his relentless trash talk. Yet now, somehow, Caitlin Clark is being vilified for playing the same mental game that helped define the greats.
Oh, it's just little extra.
A snitch, this shit don't like.
You know, they get into it a bit here. Lexi Hall now gets it.
Oh, bitch,
Sheldon's face. Caitlin Clark hits the dick.
Speak the songs, let's turn out. Don't like.
Sheldon and Cunningham are getting into it.
A snitch, that's this shit don't like.
Caitlin Clark with a few words with JC Shannon.
The WNBA's message, whether intentional or not, came through loud and twisted. If you're a confident woman who backs it up, you deserve whatever comes your way. When male athletes display swagger and fire, it's celebrated, immortalized as part of their competitive edge. But when Caitlin Clark does the same, she's accused of violating some unwritten code, as if confidence itself is grounds for punishment. Fans were outraged as commentators bent over backward to justify blatant physical aggression, dissecting Clark's posture, tone, or demeanor, as though she had somehow invited the violence. It was victim blaming, plain and simple, cloaked in sports commentary.
Caitlin Clark has decided to quit the WNBA and move on and go play over in Europe. I do not blame her. I applaud it. I say do it. Get as far away from the WNBA as you can. Let that league sink. Okay? Do not help them, Caitlin. Get away. I believe you could create your own league. Okay? You could be the fucking player that creates whatever, the next professional women's basketball league. Let this one just go and let Caitlin try to build the next WNBA.
A strange, self-defeating crusade began to take shape within the league, led by players who believed Caitlin Clark hadn't earned her stripes. Never mind that she had already become the most famous and influential figure in the WNBA, generating more attention and revenue in a few short months than some franchises had managed in decades. The resentment was palpable. For players who had spent years fighting for recognition, being cast as supporting characters in the Caitlin Clark show was a bitter pill to swallow, but this toxic undercurrent wasn't limited to opponents. It seemed embedded in the very culture of the league's veteran core. A vocal faction of players appeared more focused on humbling the newcomer than capitalizing on the once-in-a-generation opportunity she represented. They were so fixated on who should wear the crown that they failed to notice the kingdom itself teetering on collapse. The highly publicized rivalry with Angel Reese was just the tip of the iceberg, a symptom of a much deeper illness within the WNBA's ecosystem.